vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Please pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. The like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the MBK. Born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady, where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Oh, sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Dope Soul.
What?
Dope Soul.
What?
Your soul.
Where you at? Where you at?
Salute, Knick family. Welcome to the Just Knickin' It Emergency Podcast, emergency show. The Knicks traded RJ Barrett and Immanuel Quickley for OG Anunoby, plus some other players, Precious Achua. We'll get into it. But a trade was made this morning, and so this is the call-in show. The crew is all here. We're going to talk about how we feel about it. You'll be able to call in and let us know how you feel about it. You know, I just want to, thank our IQ and RJ Barrett, for what they brought to the team. Like RJ Barrett or not, whether you wanted him on the team or you didn't, you can't argue with the fact that he showed up every single night, that he gave us what he had, whether we liked it or not. He worked hard. He was tough as nails. He showed up for us in big games. He showed up for us in the playoffs last year. But in my opinion, it became evident that he was not going to be the third option that we needed moving forward. Also, thank Quickley for what he did for this team as well. Whether you liked him or not, thought he shot too much or didn't shoot too much, when you look at his on-off numbers, the New York Knicks were better when Immanuel Quickley was on the floor. All right. If you look at his plus minus numbers, I believe his plus minus was probably the best on the team, or it was up there. So whether you like the way he played or not, again, the Knicks were better. It became apparent to me when the Knicks brought in Brunson, when they didn't start IQ, when they brought in DiVincenzo, when they didn't sign him to an extension, that his days were numbered. I wish him and RJ Barrett all the best in Toronto, and I welcome OG Anunoby, who I don't think his stats, his stats this year or his career stats tell the story. And we'll put them up there and you'll see, and some of you may be like, look, he's not averaging as much points as RJ Barrett. He's not averaging as much rebounds. He just shoots a little better. When you see him, I'll give you all of 4 games before you realize that this was a good trade for the New York Knicks. In terms of RJ Barrett and OG Anunoby, straight up, obviously you throw Quick in there, you can say that the Knicks, some can argue that the Knicks didn't get the best value. I personally don't think the Knicks are finished. I think OG, I love him. I think he's a good piece. I don't think he's the finishing piece, right? And I don't think the Knicks are finished at all. So let me welcome in the panel. Jerrell, let me add Andy is here as well. Jerrell, Ajay, Geoff, Andy, how's everyone doing?
Pretty good.
We're good.
Okay. Andy's smiling like the cat who ate the canary over there.
Okay, hey guys, happy to be on with you guys. First time here, if I'm correct, Steph.
I believe so.
I believe
so. Welcome to the channel.
Look what it took, Steph. Look what it took. The Knicks to do for me to pop on, right?
I have a feeling, even if it was 3:00 polling time, you would have been on the show.
Listen, this is an emergency podcast. That's why.
This is an emergency podcast. And shout out to those in the chat. We're gonna open the phone lines a little later, so everyone, not everyone, but a few of you will get an opportunity to come on. So let's just start with how you guys feel about the trade overall, and then we'll get into fit and how it makes us better and blah, 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 blah. But just how are you feeling overall about the trade? And we'll just go in this order: Jerrell, Ajay, Geoff, Andy, and then we'll mix it up after that.
First and foremost, salute to everybody in the chat. You know how we do, usually every Thursday night, but RJ being traded is definitely called for an emergency pod. Yeah, like Christmas came a little late, right?
Or way early, depending on how you look at it.
Or way early for next year. Or it's a good New Year's Eve present for us. A lot of us called this trade. A lot of us was talked about OG Anunoby being on this team for like, what, 2 or 3 years now?
Shout out to Kerry Cox.
Yep, shout out to Kerry Cox. He was definitely one of them. You too, Steph. You was one of those people that was screaming OG's name for years now. Yeah, this is a good trade. I like the trade. Oh, Steph, did you want to put the trade up?
Yes, put the trade up, please.
Got you. Here we go. So that's the package. I think it's pretty good. We didn't have to give up any first round picks. Like we said earlier in the show, earlier this week, we was hoping that we can have RJ and IQ actually have like headlines their own trade. We was talking about getting Murray from the Hawks. But they both had to go in this trade. That should show you the value of both of them. And I still think it's a good trade because we didn't have to give up any first round picks. Now going forward, maybe we could focus on getting Murray from the Hawks now. It'll be maybe Evan Fournier, maybe 3 or 4 first round picks now. And we will have, the wings that we been looking for all season.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Ajay, your thoughts?
Well, I mean, at first, I was a little disappointed that, before I had all the details that, like you, Jerrell, that IQ and RJ Barrett went in the same trade, because we kind of felt like we could probably get more for Immanuel. I mean, this seems like a trade that you could do with Immanuel Quickley, a couple of picks, and get OG Anunoby. But listen, I'm not shedding tears over RJ Barrett being gone. It was not a good fit. Okay, so I guess we had to give up Immanuel Quickley just to be able to get rid of RJ Barrett. And we get a good return. We get OG Anunoby, and we get Precious Achiuwa. We need another big body. We've been saying that from before the season started. So we needed another big body, another backup, a guy who could play the 4 or the 5. He could play both positions. With Mitch going down, and we already didn't have a true backup power forward. So we didn't have to give up any first round picks. So this is it's not a terrible trade. It's, again, too bad we had to lose Immanuel Quickley. But overall, it seems to be a positive trade, a good one for us.
Okay. Geoff, and like I said, we'll get into fit and all of that later, but just your overall thoughts on the trade, Geoff?
I think this is a trade that raises our floor. OG is the archetype wing that we've been clamoring for ever now, I guess. And my big thing about Barrett was not that he wasn't a good player, just that he wasn't a good fit next to our 2 best players. And so when you factor that in, and you're getting back someone who on paper fits in perfectly, the biggest question mark I think with him is durability, but he's played in 27 games thus far this year. So knock on wood, but as far as a prototype wing to plug into a system next to Brunson and Randall, I don't know that you're going to find too many guys who are available who fit the bill better than he does. And he's a fantastic defender. I think that's one of the things that you're going to see from him. I mean, he led the NBA in steals last year. If you're pairing him with DiVincenzo, that means a lot of steals and a lot of getting out in the open, a lot of getting easy buckets, which is really nice. I as a big fan of Immanuel Quickley. So to see him go is kind of bittersweet, but Jerrell has been banging this drum for a long time. As soon as we signed DiVincenzo, that was the handwriting on the wall IQ. Like it or not, we didn't, we didn't consider him a starter for whatever reason, his size and his length or anything like that. But think about this: the other night in that game against OKC, what did we do at the last 3 minutes of the game? Tibbs subbed back in RJ for length because that's what was bothering us, right? Well, now you sub in Anunoby, and that changes the complexion of that final 3 minutes completely, in my opinion, because he's so versatile defensively. He can guard 1 through 5. He can play backup 4 minutes if you needed to, so that erases that problem. We have Precious Achua, who can back up Isaiah Hartenstein, and we can, if we can talk Tibbs out of playing Taj, I think he might be a better option. And I don't know, Malachi Flynn just feels like a throw-in in the deal, but to only give up that Detroit pick, which is going to be the 31st pick in the draft, the way that it looks right now, and get Anunoby, I was completely wrong on all fronts, because I said we'd never do a deal with Toronto because of the lawsuits. I said we'd never do a deal with Toronto because of Masai. I just didn't think that we were going to be trading quickly either. I thought we were just going to let it ride to the offseason. So I was completely off base and wrong on all of this stuff. Not that that's newsworthy or anything, but it is kind of stunning to me that not that this did not only that this did go down, but when it went down. Like, you don't see too many trades right before New Year's Eve in the NBA. So I'm just completely stunned.
Yeah. So was I. Andy?
Yeah, my first reaction, of course, was I was shocked, but I wasn't shocked because a trade happened. I was shocked because actually the Knicks brass moved RJ Barrett. I was thinking that he's rather unmovable piece because he's one of the fan favorites, their draft pick and stuff like that. And I was thinking that, that's going to be a really hard trade to do. And of course, we saw the rumors that the Knicks were interested in OG. We saw the rumors that they're, keeping in touch with the Hawks on Murray, or with the Bulls on DeRozan and stuff like that. I was thinking that this might be the package, but for the other guys, because of what Geoff said, that we have, that lawsuit pending and stuff like that with the Raptors. So I rather, forgot about this option even, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that I'm a big fan of Immanuel Quickley, but I didn't shed a tear that he's inserted in that deal. I was rather thinking that his value is a little bit bigger, that we could actually package him with a Fournier to get something in return, right? Now I think moving Fournier might be a little bit harder, or we're going to have to attach someone else, because pulling this move, I think it says that we are still looking for step 2 to come. And this is if you don't want me to go into the fit and stuff things.
Yeah, that's gonna be the next question. Actually, I'll just say my bit, and then Andy, you can go, because we're gonna go the other way about fit. I pretty much said everything I needed to say in the open. The only thing I will add is, you're not going to see the value of Anunoby, but I have the stats up now. And if you look at the stats, you may say, RJ, stats are better than OG Anunoby, but I just don't think you're going to know his value until he actually starts playing on our team. I don't think the stats tell the story for what he's going to bring for us. And I think he's more than a 3-and-D guy. And I think we're going to see that as well. I don't think he's crazy off the dribble, but I don't think he's a slouch either. And I think his passing is pretty good. I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised by what we get the performance we get out of OG Anunoby. And as you guys mentioned, his health is going to be is going to be the issue. This guy is not just a good defender; he was an All NBA defender. Listen, when Mitch comes back, and you got Mitch and you got OG, my goodness, that's a really good defensive team. But with Mitch out now, hopefully this helps Hartenstein. As much as he's a good rebounder on both the defensive and offensive end, he is not an intimidator back there. And so you really need to have good perimeter defenders to decrease the number of players that get into the lane that, iHeart has to deal with, right? So I think it's also a good trade in that respect. And I wonder if this was a trade that was on the table for a while. Because when you saw RJ Barrett in that first half last night, I really think that prompted the Knicks to pull the trigger. I think they were sitting on this and like, I don't know. We got to send both of them in the same trade. I don't know. When you saw RJ Barrett in that first half last night, even though he played better in the second half, in that first half, they probably said, you know what? We got to pull the trigger. We got to pull the trigger.
Call Masai. Call Masai, Jerry, right
Yeah,
now.
We got to pull the trigger on this. And then also when you saw him in the OKC game, like I said, I wish RJ Barrett the best. He shows up, he plays every night. But if this team is going to take the next step, they need a wing that can defend, hit the three. And again, I don't see, and we'll talk about this, a little. Matter of fact, I'll stop here. We'll talk about fit and what OG does for our team next. So I guess the next question is, and we'll start with Andy, his fit on the team. And are the Knicks better? Two, because remember, this is our third and fourth option. This is our third and fourth leading scorer that we shipped out. And we're just bringing in one player. Well, Precious. Well, I'll leave it like that. Andy, fit, and do you think the Knicks are better?
Yeah, fit-wise, I think OG fits basically any team better than RJ Barrett because he's a more versatile player. Like you said, on the defensive end, way better than RJ. Consistency-wise and efficiency-wise, I think still way better than RJ. So if you want a guy to be, like you said, a third, fourth scoring option, or just as a player in that matter, I think that this is not negotiable. I don't think anyone, knowing and seeing OG's game compared to RJ Barrett can doubt that even. Question is, like you said, if adding Quickley and getting back Malachi Flynn and Precious Achiuwa, does that balance it out? I'm not sure, but then again, listen, we as Knicks fans, we were asking why Quentin Grimes doesn't get X amount of shots. We were asking why that guy doesn't get X amount of touches. Maybe this is gonna bring out the versatility of the offense that Tibbs has, and the ball is just gonna be carried around for more players instead of just asking a third guy or a fourth option to take that many shots like RJ had. I don't think OG Anunoby is gonna have the field goal attempts numbers that RJ has, at least at the beginning of his Knicks tenure, right? And the other thing question is Tibbs and the coaching staff, are they gonna see him and view him in that role? Because they might look at him as the defensive stopper and just a plug and shooter. Everything else is going to be a addition. So the question is how is he going to fit? And like you said, Steph, we can base that after a couple of games. I think you can base it after like till the end of the season. I don't think you can judge the trade so quickly. But just to add, I think that this is a way better fit, and the addition of Achiuwa is going to be way better minutes even over Taj. Let's be clear here. Achiuwa was even starting games in the NBA, and Taj, unless an injury happened, he didn't get burned last 2 or 3 seasons, right? So I think that's also a plus, but not in the scoring of the bench wise, but backing up Julius Randle, and that I think you can also add as a pro in this trade.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I just want to give some love to Chris. Appreciate you, sis, who's has a family member who's ill in the hospital in the South. So I appreciate you, sis. I didn't get the latest update. I'm not sure what's going on, but prayers and good wishes your way for sure. And yes, we talked this into existence last night. Geoff, then Ajay and Jerrell will just come back around. Just your fit, and if you think the Knicks are better, why and why not?
Well, as far as archetype is concerned, he's the dream 3-4 combo that we've been clamoring for. So from that standpoint, but even more so than that, when you're talking about playoff experience,
look at Andy drinking to the occasion. Check him out.
I thought he'd have the victory cigar too. I'm a little disappointed he doesn't have the victory cigar, but at least he's cheering. So we'll
because I don't smoke, Geoff. That's why. Because I don't smoke.
Okay, all right. You don't have to light it though. For the look, man. But no. So what I would say, just playoff experience wise, you're talking about a veteran. He's been in the league a long time. He's played in big games and showed up in big games.
And he won a chip, if I'm correct, right?
Yes. Yeah, he did win a championship. I don't know how much he played that year. I don't know if he was injured, so I don't remember all that. So I'm not going to say that that he was necessarily instrumental in that, or Kawhi Leonard and Kyle Lowry were the engines, and they had Gasol and they had depth. So I didn't watch it enough to know whether he was a key piece there or not, but he was still there and he lived through it and he knows what it takes. And that makes a difference. But just from an on-court perspective, also, we kind of, it hurts to lose 2, but we needed a 2-for-1 deal to kind of clear the logjam, right? That's what we were talking about on Thursday. Now you have more minutes for Grimes, who was, his minutes were cut down significantly. If you want to give him the minutes, if not, DiVincenzo can get more minutes, and I think actually OG has said that he wants to take a bigger role. Well, I think you can put him in at the start of the second and the start of the fourth quarter and kind of let him go to work a little bit, and give him those opportunities,
particularly Geoff, with Quickley not there. So if you let him rock with that second unit, there's going to be more shots to go around.
Right. And so I think from that standpoint, it's really good. I don't think Achua is a long-term piece here, but I wouldn't be, because he's on the last year of his contract, and so is Malachi Flynn. I don't know that they're going to want to pay him, but he's young, and so it might be a piece that you can use to get more veteran help, like an Andre Drummond, perhaps, closer to the trade deadline if Chicago falters a bit. And so I think I'm not saying Achua can't help the team. I think he'll get in the rotation right away. I just don't think that, especially with Robinson and Hartenstein, I don't think of him necessarily as a long-term thing, unless he's willing to take like vet min money to be the third string center or something like that. And I don't know if that's
we keep saying he's a center. He's 6'8". He's really a power forward. Yeah. He's a power forward.
Well, that limits him even further. I think OG is going to play most of the backup minutes behind Randall now. I don't. So if he can't play the 5, I don't think he's going to see much court time at all. But I think he's a possibility, because the Knicks were pretty desperate. I mean, they even went to some Randall at the 5, a little bit in the last couple games, which I know is not Tibbs' favorite thing to do. But I like Achua at either spot better than I like Taj at this point in his career, just because he's younger and he's sprier and the archetype of Toronto Raptors players is just goes the guys that have that length and can get after you defensively. So Thibodeau should like, on at least on paper, theoretically, all three of the guys that we brought in, even if we are going to definitely miss Quickley. He did a lot for us, especially on the defensive end, and it helped defense in some of those lineups. But when you have a wing who can lock it down like OG can, you don't have to be as good in those other areas because he's not going to be burnt. This will be the first time that the Knicks can just say, oh, you've got Jason Tatum. Okay, we're just going to play him one-on-one with OG and not worry about it. Oh, you got Damian Lillard. Okay, well, we'll put OG on Damian Lillard and see how he does against that. You know what I mean? Because he can do those sorts of things. He brings that versatility to the lineup. He can even guard 4s and 5s. So, he's going to be getting that best defensive assignment without being, and he's 6'7" with a 7'2" wingspan. So he's not going to have the size deficit that we were going with Grimes, who's a decent defender in his own right. But now you can put Grimes on you can slide Grimes over or DiVincenzo, either one, whichever one. But as Drugs Only said, we have a legitimate wing with legitimate wing size who can take the challenge of the best wing scorers in the league. And that's something this team was lacking. I think it moves us into a top 10 defense in the NBA by the time it's all said and done.
Yeah. I agree. Ajay, in terms of fit and yeah.
Well, first of all, Queen, before I go ahead, chat, hit the like button, man. Emergency podcast, 166 people watching and only 50 likes. Let's get this thing up to 100 right now, man. Come on. Emergency podcast, on a Saturday, everybody coming from all over the place just to listen to this. Let's give us
Andy
that
from Poland joined us.
Andy, man, he joined us sipping on something, celebrating.
First time. And it's not even to pay a visit to us. It's to celebrate Quickley being on the team. So this doesn't even count as support, Andy.
Yeah, OG. Well, OG's definitely a good fit. He's more of a Tom Thibodeau type of player. A guy who plays defense, a guy who can score when you need him to score, a guy who could scrap, who could, he could guard several positions. As long as he stays healthy, which I think Geoff mentioned that he's been so far this season, he's been playing. So fingers crossed that it stays that way for the rest of the season and beyond. Because I read an article that mentioned that the Knicks have every intention of signing him.
Better. And now you got RJ's money to do so, right?
Exactly. Now you got RJ's money to do so. Okay, so it's a good fit. So Precious Achiuwa it definitely sweetens the deal because we desperately needed another big body in there. Okay, so he's a 4, or he could play the 5. He's a 4. He's going to be a backup and that also gives Tom Thibodeau the flexibility of using Josh Hart at the 3 on smaller guys. So now you got a backup who can rebound, who can do stuff that bigger guys can do. So it makes us, I think, bigger and better. It's definitely a better fit, and I think it makes us better. And you got to remember also, we have 2 guys. Our first 2 options, they get the ball a lot. So you don't need a third guy like RJ Barrett who requires 16, 17 shots just to score what he was scoring. So you need a more efficient guy, and OG Anunoby is more efficient than RJ Barrett. So it's just going to work to our favor. So yes, it's going to be a good fit, and I think it makes us better. Time will tell, but right now it looks like it was a good deal.
Yeah, no doubt. Jerrell, your thoughts on the fit with the Knicks, with this team?
I'm trying to think about something that everybody hasn't said already. I went last because the fit is obvious. This is a player that we've been talking about for literally years now, and it finally happened. So of course he's going to be a better fit at the wing with the length and the defense, and You know, he's better at RJ when it comes to efficiency, but you know, Pressure Achua is definitely a big get too, because we needed help in the paint. And Malachi Flynn, I don't want anybody to forget him, because he's probably going to be our point guard coming off the bench now, backing up Jalen Brunson. I know a lot of people probably want Deuce to be that, but Malachi Flynn is probably going to leapfrog Deuce as soon as he gets on his roster, because he knows how to run a team. He's not the defender that Deuce is, but his floor game is better. So I'm guessing that Tom Thibodeau will probably have him as the first point guard to come off the bench now, and not Deuce. But yeah, it's definitely a fit. I'm kind of I guess the only fans that would think that it's not a good fit and mad this trade happened are usually the fans that disagree with us anyway. Because you got to think about it as I don't know, people were saying we got fleeced, not the other way around. And if ESPN is giving us an A for this trade and they hardly ever say anything positive about the Knicks, this should tell you that we definitely won this trade. Like we gave up RJ Barrett, who was inconsistent, and this was the first year of a contract that probably shouldn't have been signed in the first place. OG Anunoby is probably going to get that and maybe a little bit more. And for what he does to this team, or for this team, I should say, it is a perfect fit for him to be the starting three on this team. Now they just got to make another trade. Like, this should not be the last trade that they make. Right. Even though each player fits this team perfectly, we still probably need a better starting two guard, and I think that's going to come soon.
Yeah, and I think that takes us into the next question, and then I'll open up the phone lines. Is OG the finishing piece or just the first piece? So how much does OG Anunoby by himself move the needle for the Knicks in terms of becoming championship contenders? Ajay, we'll start with you this time.
Well, Anunoby moves the needle, but that obviously does not make us championship contenders. We are a better team with him in the lineup if he could give us the good minutes, but it definitely is not. I mean, there's more to come. And when you look at the trade, I'm sure the question everybody's asking, well, we still stuck with, or Evan Fournier still stuck on the bench. So we still have that $18 million sitting there that we could use for another trade. I mean, there's been rumors about the Knicks going after DeJounte Murray over there in Atlanta because, obviously that's not working for them and they're looking to move him. At least that's what the rumors say. So we still have a little something there we could, and we did not give up a first round pick for the OG Anunoby deal.
Right.
So we still have a ton of first round picks that we could move, that would look really good to Atlanta. Obviously you're going to need Fournier's money to make that work. If you bring it in like a Murray or or somebody like that. But there's definitely, I feel there are definitely other deals coming. This is not it. And if Atlanta is it, it's going to be awesome. If you could, now problem is Tibbs going to have to figure this as a manager, as a coach, he's going to have to figure out the minutes between all these guys now, because now, and a lot of people, Tom Thibodeau likes to play a 8 or 9 man rotation. I think if we have the right players here, he might be able to extend beyond that 9 man rotation, because if he doesn't have the players, he just stick to the little crew that he knows can get the job done. But if he have more guys that get the job done, he's going to be willing to expand that. I don't think we're done. I think there are other trades coming. So let's just sit tight, until the trade deadline. Hopefully it happened during the season by the trade deadline, and we don't have not in the off season.
I kind of think a little different, Ajay. I think that if you have the players, you want to shorten the rotation because you want those players to get enough time to shine. So if you have DeJounte Murray on this team, let's just say, and you got OG on this team, if you increase the rotation to 10, that's less minutes for those guys for somebody coming off the bench that's not going to be as good.
Well, well, no, because now you have somebody coming off the bench who's just as good. That's not going to be as good. I'm just saying, if you have the talent, if you have the players, he might be willing. If he has guys that he feel could get the job done, listen, he likes DiVincenzo, right? He likes Josh Hart. So he might be willing to expand his rotation because he has guys that he trusts that can get the job done also.
But those guys aren't as good as, like, for me personally, I'd rather give DeJounte Murray and OG more minutes than Josh Hart, whether I trust him or not.
Yeah, that's true though. But Tom Thibodeau likes Josh Hart, and he's gonna find minutes for him.
Well, he's gonna get minutes, but we're talking about extra minutes. We're talking about, and Josh Hart is already in the rotation. If you're talking about going 10, that means you're bringing somebody that's out of the rotation now into the rotation to take minutes away from one of those guys. We'll see. But if you look around the league, like, everybody thinks 9 is like foreign, like that's just something Tom Thibodeau is doing. If you look around the league, 9-man rotation is very, very common, more common than a 10-man rotation, if you ask me. So I don't think Tibbs is doing something that other teams aren't doing.
Time will tell. Let's see.
Time will tell.
Yeah.
Time will tell. Andy, is OG the finishing piece or just the first piece in terms of us becoming championship contenders? How much does he move the needle for you?
Yeah, I think he moves the needle for us. Like, if I would have to say it standing wise, I think he moves the needle like 1 or 2 seeds higher than without him. But we still can be like, if this was the roster from day one before the season started, I don't think you can say that the Knicks are the number 3 or number 2 seed in the East, right? It's still going to be number 4, number 5. So we're not in championship, contention from the get-go. But I still think, like Ajay said, that it moves the needle. For me personally, I think just sticking with this roster, we could go, just building the chemistry and starting the next season and stuff like that. I think we could go, like in the standings wise, it would move the needle even further, because I don't think you need a certain shooting guard, like an all-star shooting guard in Murray or Mitchell and whatever in this lineup to say that the Knicks are in contention. Because listen, if OG pans out and he's going to be like that third scorer, right? That third punch, and he's going to be scoring like 18 or 20 points. I don't think adding a 4th guy that's, able to score is going to fix that problem. Everybody's going to have to, drop by a point, 2 or 3 in the scoring stats personally for that 4th guy to get them out of touches. That's why, just for me, having a guy like a DiVincenzo, like a Grimes, he's one of those perfect guys in that starting lineup. He doesn't require the ball. If he gets a touch, he can shoot it. He plays defense. So he's one of those guys that's filling a role. And these, let's say, star players, they love to play with guys like that. They don't require the ball on the offensive end. If they get it, they can shoot it. If not, they're not going to be, yelling at you that they didn't, have a shot, and they're not going to play hard for it. The same with
Oh, go ahead. Sorry,
the same with Josh Hart, right? He's one of those guys. He doesn't care if he scores a bucket a whole game, but he's going to be playing on full motor and stuff like that. So I think those guys are pretty much the glue guys that, the rest of the lineup are really happy to play with. And I think 3 guys in the starting 5 that are willing and able to score, I think that's enough. And, having just a guy maybe to, or spread the scoring on the bench would be a little bit better for me. But that's only my, philosophy of building a roster. So
yeah. The question I have, Andy, is if depending on the next player we get, you don't think OG can be a glue guy? Like, do you think he's somebody that's going to command the ball?
no, of course he can. And if for example, if the guy is DeJounte Murray, I don't think he's going to ask, for example, from the franchise, from the coaching staff, from his teammates, listen, I'm here, but I want to be still a 20-point scorer. I still think that he's going to be happy with 16, but I think all these guys can take a step, back. But if that brings winning with it, because if it's going to be like, listen, I'm taking a step back, but we still didn't make the playoffs, or we still didn't get out of the first round, these guys are going to be like, listen, we all took a pay cut, whatever. We decided to play together, but this isn't working for me personally, because, that contract extension is coming up and my numbers aren't satisfying. You never know. Winning, heals everything, as far as I see it. But like I said, I'm comfortable with guys like DiVincenzo and Grimes. They can stick with these guys, and you can put them on the deficiencies that Brunson has. And now with OG, you can have a good defender on the backcourt guy, a good defender on the forward and the center spot. No matter who's in there, I think you got a lock with Mitch there. So.
Yeah, I agree with you in terms of having players who don't command the ball. I'm just not that high on Grimes as one of those guys. I'm definitely high on DiVincenzo as one of those guys. I think Grimes is on his way. I don't think he's there yet this season in terms of being that consistent shooter, and that's okay. He has about 2 years of game experience. Yeah, he has about 2 years of game experience, even though he's been this is his third year. It's going to come. It's going to come. Jerrell and then Geoff. Is OG the finishing piece or just the first piece?
Oh, well, in terms of roster construction, he better not be the final piece. Like, this roster still.
Amen.
Like, if we trying to win a championship here, so yeah, he's definitely not the finishing piece. He's just a starting piece, and we already talked about us going after Murray with the Hawks, and Brandon Ingram. It could still be a possibility. They could play the 2 and the 3, so we'll have super length at the wings. So you never know, but it's definitely not the final piece. At least I hope not, or we have a problem still.
Yeah, definitely something we talked about on the show. That, in my opinion, if you're not going to get a superstar, and let's be real, it's not a lot of them available anyway. If you want to be a championship contender, your supporting cast has to be much better. I probably more than anybody, I am a believer in the Brunson-Randle duo, but it's not the same duo as a Giannis and Lillard. So for those guys, they're going to need a better supporting cast than a Dame or Giannis would need. And so if you can't go out and get a superstar, then your number 3 and your number 4 have to be better than their number 3 or number 4. And that's what we talked about. So I just believe that if we upgraded our shooting guard and our small forward, we could become championship contenders with Brunson and Randall. And I think this is the first piece. But like we talked about last night, Murray, to me, is kind of in the same boat, and I don't know if you guys agree or not, with OG. I felt like we needed a steady piece and a dynamic piece, and I feel like OG is that steady piece. A Levine, a Brandon Ingram, or somebody like that would be that dynamic piece, and I'm not saying any of those guys are available. So we could talk about this later. When I think about Murray and OG, I don't know if either one of those guys are dynamic enough behind Randall and Brunson, and maybe they are defensively though. Those two guys changes everything for us. But I want to give Geoff. I don't think Geoff had an opportunity to talk about whether OG is the finishing piece, just the piece, how much he moves the needle for this team.
Well, the conspiracy theorists out there, he is a CAA client, so more to the family. But I'll say this: I am more confident about the Knicks winning a first-round playoff series with OG Anunoby at the 3 than with IQ and Barrett on the roster. So from that standpoint, I think it's a step up. It's not the final step, but I think it's encouraging because I think that we said on the show on Thursday, you can't go from A to C, like point A to point C very easily. Well, now I think we went from point A to point B. That puts you pretty close to point C. That gives you an opportunity to make some other moves, and we have all of our first round picks and able to do that if a star does become available. If you want to go after a Donovan Mitchell, if you want to go after, I'm not in love with DeJounte Murray's game for this team because I don't know that he's the best catch and shoot 3-point shooting option. I know he's a good defender and he's having a good year at the 3-point line this year, but that's not as much his game, and Brunson can play off the ball too. So I'm not sure that's the biggest fit, but here's the thing. If you bring in Murray and you're going to make a star trade, Murray's the kind of player that you can send out in that deal. And a team is like, I'm getting somebody who's worthwhile. I may not be getting back as good a player, but I'm getting back an almost all-star for my, in addition to my draft picks. Those are the kind of players who make those deals possible. In a way that I think much more so than RJ Barrett does. Barrett had the salary, but I don't know that Barrett had the game. And so I think if you're looking, and obviously we haven't made the Murray trade yet. So that may be, but I think that this trade in particular gives the Knicks more flexibility. We were kind of locked into RJ's contract and we were about to have to sign IQ to a big extension if we were going to keep him, right? And that then you're talking about approaching that second tax apron for a team that's clearly not a contender. And so what you've done now is you're off. We overpaid for RJ and now we're off that contract completely. And now you've got a player. Are we going to have to pay more for OG? Yes, but OG fits perfectly. And so you're talking about, and there's another deal coming because I don't think there's any way in the world that we're just letting Fournier expire and not use that $18 million in some form or fashion. And I think that Grimes is probably another piece that goes with that. Did you notice how almost all of the players that this front office has drafted are now gone? Right. And so we're finally taking that step into acquiring the veterans that you need to become a contender, because young teams aren't contending teams. They're just not. And what's great about OG is he's 26 or 27 years old. So he's a veteran. He's got an NBA championship under his belt, but he's not 34 years old. He's not. And oh, by the way, with him in the fold, you might think about DeMar DeRozan in Chicago now.
Yeah.
In other words, I think that if you add DeMar and OG played together before, so there's some chemistry there also. So I'm wondering if the Clutch Sports thing, for instance, is reality, that they just don't want their client in New York for whatever reason, which I think is dopey. But I mean, you have your grudges, do your thing, Clutch Sports. But I think that makes that more of a possibility, especially when you have a guy who can stretch the floor. And I'm pretty sure that as far as popping from the corner, he's like 44%. So you can just send him to the corner and let Randall and Brunson do their thing. And then if they get stuck, then they just pop it out to him at 44%. I'll take that. That makes our offense so much better. And
Yes.
then so from that perspective, it's amazing. And so I think there's a lot of positives that just not for now though. I think it sets us up in the future to make that next deal. And oh, by the way, if you want to, if you want to make a trade for, I don't know, Joel Embiid or something like that, then maybe that's a case where you can trade, some of these other guys and bring him in or any, but you can use more draft capital now because you're not missing any of those picks.
Right.
So they have a lot of flexibility now. But this is not a complete team for sure. So we need to continue to grow and to build. But I think we're a better team today than we were yesterday. That's just my personal opinion. And that comes from someone who loves Immanuel Quickley. So
no doubt. I want to get into, I just want to highlight some comments from the chat. And some of them we can actually comment on because some of them I think are very interesting. But first, shout out to Stafford Don. He said, Knicks president Leon Rose in a statement says that OG Anunoby's complete offensive game and ability to defend multiple positions will enhance our team on both ends of the court. Full statement. And I think we talked about that already. So Ivory 10, Knicks are not a better team as currently constituted. I mean, I'll give my opinion on this, and anybody else who wants to chime in, you can. I think the Knicks are. Now, well, I get where Ivory 10 is coming from because I'm just really thinking about switching out RJ Barrett for OG Anunoby. That starting unit is definitely better because you have somebody that can defend their position. And you have somebody that can knock down the 3-point shot at 37% and 44% from the corner. So the starting unit is definitely better. But I hear what he's talking about when you factor in that second unit. Quickley was big for us in that second unit, 15 points a game in like 20 minutes. And, regardless of whether you like how he plays or he doesn't, the Knicks are better. If you look at the on-off numbers, the Knicks are a better team when he's on the floor. His plus minus is the best on the team. So as much as he drives you crazy with the, extra dribbling and what have you, the Knicks are better when he's on the court, even when he's on the court, whether he's on the court with the second unit, on the court with the first unit, on the whatever, the Knicks are better. But I think it remains to be seen. Once you factor in that second unit, I think Ivory 10 may have a good point. So let's talk about what Ivory 10 brought up. And also you can add into this because this was one of the questions anyway. What does that second unit look like without Quickley? We're going to start with you, Geoff, but we're going to just try to keep it to like a minute and a half or so we can move it around.
So first of all, I don't think our bench unit was amazing anyway.
1 second, Geoff. Y'all know my condition. Let me get to this really quick. Shout out to Paris Doug. I appreciate you. Jeremy Grant or DeAndre Hunter away from a winner. I just think we need a much more dynamic player than those two guys. But I love their defense. Sorry, Geoff.
No, that's okay. That's fine. I don't think our bench has just been amazing this year anyway. Quickley has played well, but the bench unit as a whole, and especially once Mitchell Robinson went down, the bench unit has been, not great anyway. And as far as I'm concerned, it's nice, but to have a bench is a luxury. I want the best starting five I possibly can have. And I think that our starting five is considerably better. And I also think about the bench. When you're shifting Josh Hart back to the 3 spot and away from the 4, I think that adds to the bench unit also because he's in more of a natural spot. He's not having to grind against bigger, taller, stronger players. He's more in his element against players. And so we may see more of the Josh Hart off the bench that we saw last year, and maybe without Quickley there, maybe Grimes decides that he's going to step up in that second unit because he gets maybe a 5 more minute of cushion than he's been getting, and more shots, and more touches. So so perhaps that sparks him as well. And then you've got guys like Malachi Flynn and Precious Achiuwa, who we don't know what they can contribute, but I think that those two guys are at 8 and 9 are probably better than anybody we were plugging in. Well, Taj Gibson, I think they can add more to that. And I think Malachi Flynn is an actual backup one. The only thing I'll say where I think if Brunson is out for injury for some reason, I think that IQ was able to bring that dynamism to the court if Brunson was absent. So I think that's something that will be lacking if that happens. But cross that bridge when we come to it. Knock on wood, it doesn't happen. So from that standpoint, I think our starting unit is stronger. I think our bench could actually improve. And just from, getting guys in more natural positions. And again, we have more flexibility because OG can play the 3 or the 4. Now you've got another big body you can put in, right? Everybody was complaining about the Knicks' size and they did okay, but I think that the size issue is mitigated considerably now, and especially when we've got a wing who can defend and lock down. And that's not something that we had before. And I think that in the second unit, if you can play OG in the second unit and add Grimes and have Josh Hart, you've got a lot of nice defensive pieces in that second unit that can really put the clamps on some people. So, I don't know. Time will tell, but I think that this trade gives us a lot of flexibility moving forward, and I think it may increase the on-court as well.
Yeah. We shall see. Now I'm hearing somebody can check that Grimes is out today. I don't know. Smelling like another trade is in the fire being cooked up. We shall see.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Ajay, are we a better team, particularly the bench? Do you think the bench is weaker without IQ?
We are definitely gonna miss his scoring off the bench. His burst, like he comes in. I mean, some games, a lot of games, he gives you 1 point per minute. That is tremendous in the NBA. We are going to miss him. We're going to miss his scoring and his defense, but more so his scoring because we have great defenders coming off that bench. I mean, these guys, they can play. But the thing is, if your starting lineup is that much stronger, do you really need a guy coming off the bench? Do you really need to rely on a 20-point scorer off the bench? I mean, it's always a welcome sight, but
right.
You don't want to be relying upon that just to win games. And shout out to Eru, who he always points out that the Knicks players have to work so hard every night just to pull out a win because of the way because the way the roster was constructed, like it was structurally flawed. But now, and let's not, it's very important that they added Precious Achiuwa there. That other big body. I don't know why you guys think Tom Thibodeau's not going to find time for him. He's going to play him. I don't know about
the underrated part of this trade.
I think so. I think he's going to turn out to be more valuable than most of us are thinking right now. Size was a problem, and he fixed that problem. Okay, so I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Thibodeau, if he shaves off minutes from a couple of other guys like Josh Hart and the other guys just to make sure we have that big body in there. We know how he likes to protect the rim. That's part of his philosophy. He's gonna find time for that guy. So yeah, I think we're underestimating Precious Achiuwa. I don't know, Malachi Flynn, like you said, like Geoff just said, he's a perfect backup point guard. You know, like a guy who comes in, works hard, gives you like maybe, I don't know, 10 minutes off the bench, if that. And we also have Deuce McBride. Deuce McBride could possibly get some minutes also if Thibodeau doesn't like Malachi Flynn. So I think we're going to be all right we're going to be fine with the second unit. We are definitely going to miss IQ's scoring, but we'll be fine.
Yeah. Another thing we could see Grimes go back to the starting unit and DiVincenzo go back to the second unit only for ball handling reasons. I love DiVincenzo with this starting unit. It's just to have a consistent shooter around those guys. And Grimes is just not that. But if we're concerned about lack of ball handling in that second unit, then we could use that's an option.
Or Grimes might be gone, Queen. Like that might be what's cooking up the next trade.
I'm for it. Shout out to Jesto11. Appreciate you always supporting the channel and the show. This move had me upset for my love for RJ and IQ, but now I'm intrigued. This shows me they're committed to being a contender instead of the youth. Yeah, and as Geoff mentioned earlier, if you're going to be a championship contender, you have to get older. I'm not saying you got to have people 34, 35 that's been in the league like 12 years, but you got to have young veterans. You're not, unless you're an OKC where you have young studs that are growing together, you have to trade off some of the youth and get some young veterans in here to be championship contenders. At least that's my opinion on it. Andy, did you get a chance to talk on this? And then we'll go to
Jerrell. Yeah,
Jerrell.
not yet, Queen. I'm gonna say it shorter than Geoff and then RJ. Are we a better team today than yesterday? No, but are we gonna be a better team tomorrow? Yes, and that's only because the guys from Toronto can't play today. That's the only reason. Listen, that's the only reason. So the Pacers get a free pass today because we're gonna have a hard game without RJ and Quickley to sub him and mesh in the rotations and stuff like that. But that's the only case. The T-Wolves better watch out on Monday.
Yeah, I think it's gonna. You guys will see those that are down on OG already before he's even played a game. Give it 4 games, if that much. Jerrell?
I'll make it quick because I was going to say exactly what Andy was going to say.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, they better today, but tomorrow,
yeah,
it would definitely be better tomorrow, man. Like all 3 of the players that we picked are going to get minutes. Like especially Precious Achiuwa. I don't know why people.
I don't know why.
Well, he's the prototypical backup power forward that we've been looking for all season.
Yep.
So
and Jerrell, if I'm correct, I think his wingspan is longer than Mitch's even.
Yes, he plays he plays the 4 and the 5.
Yeah.
So at 6'8".
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
he's a pretty good rebounder.
Yep, pretty good rebounder. He can hit the 3 a little bit, but yeah, I mean, we've already said that this was a perfect fit for us. So yes, we will definitely be better tomorrow once these guys actually get a uniform. And I don't even know if they got physicals yet. Like, so it won't happen today. We'll probably lose to the Pacers today because we'll be shorthanded. But going forward, we should be a better basketball team.
Yeah. They appreciated the joke, Andy. Justo11, appreciate the second super chat from you. Wouldn't be shocked at us getting Spider, but to replace IQ, I'd like Malcolm Brogdon, a vet who knows how to produce and can shoot well. I mean, I definitely wouldn't mind Malcolm Brogdon off the bench. I think we're still, and I'm talking about championship contention here, we still need another dynamic player. I think OG is that stable guy, that guy who doesn't command the ball, even though in Toronto he wanted a bigger role. So I'm not sure how that's going to sit because I think he's in a similar situation playing with Brunson and Randall, particularly if they bring in another scorer. I don't see him as that dynamic player like we talked about that's going to put us over the top. So if you get Malcolm Brogdon for that second unit, that's fine. We're still going to need, I feel like we need well, let me ask you guys, do you see OG as the third player? I don't, as a number 3, but behind those two guys, I don't. I still feel like we need a number 3. He can surprise me though, because he can shoot. He can put the ball on the floor some. He definitely defends his position. But a number 3 for me would be a Brandon Ingram, would be a Levine, would be another high-level player. But that's just my opinion. Do you see OG as a number 3, or do you think we need somebody even better than OG? Jerrell, we'll start with you.
I'm all for getting better. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Brandon Ingram is the answer, then yes, I want Brandon Ingram. But I don't know. It kind of remains to be seen because OG, I don't know. Like, his offensive game probably will be a little mysterious because you don't know what his production will be like here.
Mm-hmm.
Because Brunson and Randall takes most of the shots, but if he gets the same shots RJ gets, I'm just looking up his numbers, and he shoots 12 times a game with the Raptors. So if that production goes up, if he has more usage with shooting, he will average just as much or more than as RJ is because he actually shoots better than him across the board. So do I think he is a third option on a championship team? I'm not sure. Yeah, to be honest, that's a real hard question. I don't really think I have an answer for you. I would say probably as of right now, no, from what I saw from him in Toronto, but I don't know what he brings in MSG yet.
Yeah. Shout outs. What's up, Staffer?
What's good? What's good, family? Shout out to the Queen. Shout out to the panel. What's going on, man? Queen.
Mm-hmm.
Our wish has come through.
Yes.
Last
We was
night,
texted too.
Exactly. And what did I say to you? We need to make a trade. We need to make something happen. And lo and behold, 12 o'clock p.m., a trade was happening. I called you. You ain't answered. I was like, what is Queen doing?
I was in the movies. You know, you got to turn your phone off.
I know. You can, but hey, listen. Shout out to IQ. Shout out to RJ. We appreciate your services as a New York Knicks. But it was just time to move on. We finally got our home floor that we've been asking for, our upgrade that we've been asking for. There's no complaint about length and size now. We have that particular player to defend one of the best players on the other opposing side team. We will be sadly missed by IQ with his microwave scoring coming off the bench. But I believe we have reinforcements to either go out and get a next trade, do another trade and have somebody come in, or for right now, Evo and hopefully Grimes could step up his game a little bit and give us something for right now until something happens. But I'm like everybody else, I think something else is going to happen. I believe also watch out for that Murray trade. Also it could be somebody else. Somebody said Spider Mitchell. So they say that Leon Rose is sleeping on his hands, but they can't say nothing now that he ain't doing nothing now. He made his move, and I believe that we are not done. So all the criticism about the front office not making a move and he's sleeping at the wheel. All right, y'all got a shocker today, man. I believe our team just got better. in small increments, but it's not a championship team as yet. But we're forward into that direction. And Queen is just another major move right now to see who we could fit with that shooting guard, as you were saying. And I believe we should be good to go. Pressure two is a good backup call forward. I like him. Malachi
Yes.
Flynn, a good point guard. I don't know if Duke might get a little minutes, but I like Malachi. He's serviceable, you know. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited. He's not playing tonight, due to all the physicals. They passed all the physicals tonight, so we could see him on Monday for Minnesota and see how this looks. But otherwise, man, I love it. I love it.
Do you think what's your thoughts on our second unit now without Quickley? Staffer?
Give me a second. Take
Oh,
somebody else.
okay. No, we talked about that already. What? Give me just to continue the thought on that second unit. Who's in that second unit now? Is McBride in that second unit or Flynn? Andy?
Today or tomorrow?
When when
Definitely Deuce tonight.
When the dust settles, right?
when the dust settles, and who would you like to see? Because that could be two separate answers. Like I think Flynn is in there, but I'd like to see McBride. Like right.
Steph, we think alike. Listen, that poster behind me, still is in effect. So yeah, but yeah, to be true, listen, I think Malachi Flynn, he's more seasoned. He had more minutes. He ran a team, like you said. He's more of a floor general. And just because of that, I think when he, settles in with the team, I think he's going to get more minutes than Deuce. And Deuce, as we know, is situational. So I think, it's going to be Malachi Flynn, Quentin Grimes, Josh Hart, Precious Achua, and Jericho Sims when he comes back, or Taj Gibson or whoever, or it's going to be only four guys off the bench with one guy on the from the starters and stuff like that. Because like we also mentioned that we're talking about the bench, but we have not a 10-man rotation, which means the bench is never alone without any starters, right? So and most of the time, at least from what I saw, we are meshing guys like two guys from the starting lineup with three guys off the bench. Rarely, and even if it happens, it's for a really short stint of time. It's like one guy from the starters with four guys off the bench, and most of the time that guy was RJ Barrett. And that's when, if he had a bad night, we were, losing that time on the court. So I think we're going to be fine. I think we're going to be fine with that.
Did you name your starters? I'm sorry, I was on the phone. Did you name who you think would be in that second unit?
Yeah, with the second unit, it's going to be Malachi Flynn. It's going to be Quentin Grimes probably.
Yeah.
And it's going to be Josh Hart, Precious Achua, and the fifth guy is going to be from the starters, right?
Okay.
Depending if they're going to move, right? So
Gotcha.
Unless Jericho Sims comes back, but I don't think Jericho Sims, even if he's healthy, he's going to be playing, major minutes. Maybe if they stick him in the starting lineup and go with Hartenstein off the bench, then that can be that 10-man rotation. But do you think Tibbs is going to be comfortable with that? I don't think so. So
I think Sims saw his last minutes on the court.
Exactly. That might be the case, or it might be the case also with McBride. Listen, it's not like this is his first season or his second season. He had so many minutes to catch up with, and I understand that maybe he's just not on an NBA level rotation minutes type of a player. He does well in G League. He can fill in minutes when you need to plug a player in for a week or two. But it's not like you're going to go into the season with Deuce McBride as your starting point guard or as your, reserve point guard, but throughout the whole season. So,
yeah. Staffer, because I know you can't stay with us long. Did you want to comment on just that second unit without IQ? Okay, not back yet. Anybody else in terms of in any order, McBride or Flynn? I don't know much about Flynn. I know he's undersized as well. I like McBride's defense. I have concerns about McBride running a team. I know he did a little bit of that in preseason, and it was good to see. But yeah, anybody else want to comment on that?
I think that I saw in the chat, they're like, well, who's going to take those RJ minutes? I think that's going to be OG.
Yeah, he's going to start.
OG's going to start, but he's going to run with that bench unit quite a bit too, just like Barrett did. I think they're going to continue with a 9-man rotation. I think you're going to see him get an opportunity to see what he can do. And guess what? If he soaks up Barrett's usage, he shoots better everywhere except the foul line. And so, and not just a little bit better, like considerably better. And so, I think if that's the time when he kind of gets to shine and show what bag he has, you might see, most of his scoring come with the second unit, except, and then him get the occasional, corner three with the starters, which he can knock down, by the way, which Barrett never could. But I kind of think it's funny. I know a bench unit is important, but I want to have starters that are problems for people. I want our starting unit to in other words, if our starting unit is dominant and it's outscoring people by 10 or 15, then our bench unit, if they give up a couple points, they're only in there for a few minutes anyway, or less minutes anyway. But I think OG Anunoby is looking for the opportunity to show what he can do in those spots. I see no reason why he can't outperform Barrett in those spots. And he's a terrific defender, and he steals the ball like crazy, y'all. He was the NBA leader in steals per game last year. This is a guy who's going to get on the defensive end and get us out in transition and get easier baskets. That's the whole thing here, guys. I think we're blowing this, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but I think we're blowing this bench thing way out of proportion.
Well, I will say this, and I'll let Staffer go. For all the ball movement people, you're going to get that in the second unit because, you're not going to have somebody in that second unit that's ball dominant, right? And so for that second unit to score, they're going to have to move the ball and get easy shots and get open, open
they tend
shots.
to run, Steph. They tend to run.
And they can run. You mean like transition baskets? Yes, and they can run with transition baskets. Staffer, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I know you can't stay long. Did you want to comment on that second unit without Quickley?
I want to see what's the dynamic tonight, and then probably I can give a more definite answer on the bench because Quickley is not there, so you're gonna have to see where the scoring comes off, on the second unit that Michael is scoring. So I want to see how who's going to be in the starting lineup tonight. This is either if Devo is going to stay or
Johnny Bryant might be in that starting lineup tomorrow because we're going to be down a few players.
Right, exactly. So I want to see the dynamic tonight to see how that flips. If Grimes is going to get more minutes and see how that equation works. We playing Indiana.
This ain't the night to be short of players.
Yeah. Let's see the dynamic tonight, and then I could probably make a decision on the bench. But like Jeff said, I don't want to make the bench a whole blow up make it overreaction, overboard, to IQ leave, you know what I mean? It's a whole disaster. We don't know how it looks yet. So, I would take a low pause. Let's see how the rotation works tonight. Let's see if Bruce gets some minutes. Let's see what he could do in those minutes if he decides to play. And then after we can make our judgment call here for Monday when we play Minnesota to see how that bench is going to look. But for right now, as I said, I like the two players that comes back. We have a backup power forward in Ochoa, which is going to give Randall a lot more time to get rest and have him very fresh coming in so he could dominate. And as I said before, Malachi Flynn, serviceable backup point guard. I think he could get the job done, but a lot of people are scrambling for Duke to get minutes and to see what he could do.
Mm-hmm.
So this is his time to shine, and let's see what he could do. A la Wiz, your boy is getting his time to shine now. So let's see what that young man could do in the lineup tonight. So I'm just looking forward to see what Tom Thibodeau rotations is going to look tonight without RJ and Quickley. And then I get to
Fournier time.
Yeah, and then and Fournier. Well, I doubt it because Fournier said that how he don't think that he's even going to sniff some minutes. So that's also to be seen. But let's see what happens tonight. So Monday when we have Point Sports, we could put our assessment to see what's going to happen with Minnesota.
Yeah, I agree with Ivory 10. I think the OG move will look a lot better after the next move. I think it looks good now, but I agree. I think it will look a lot better after the next move. All right. So the line is open if you want to call into the show. I will just say we can't put you on hold. So if someone is on the phone, don't call in. Just wait until that person is off the phone, then call in, because there's no way to put you in the room and to put you on hold. We just don't have that capability right now. I don't really have much to ask. My last question is, if we were to get Murray, to me, Murray was my OG type player. Like I felt like we needed a Murray or an OG and then somebody more dynamic. But if we were to get Murray, are we championship contenders with Murray and OG? Or do we need somebody a bit more dynamic than Murray? Staff, are you with us, or you have to go soon? Maybe you want to go first.
Let me go first, and then after I'm gonna bounce up out of here. We definitely need somebody that's more dynamic. I think DeJounte Murray, nice guy. We'll do.
Sorry, staffer.
Call up.
Call.
To accept, to send a voicemail, press 2.
Caller, you on the air. What's your name and where you're from? I'm pressing. I was pressing 1. I don't know what's going on with my phone.
That person hanged up.
Yeah, because I wasn't able to.
Yeah, we definitely need somebody much more dynamic. I like DeJounte Murray. I mean, he will bring size. You know what I mean? He's not a great 3-point shooter, but he'll bring size if they was to switch or anything like that. But it's not the dynamic move where we'll say, okay, now if it's a Donovan Mitchell, now we're talking, right? If there's a Booker, now we're talking. Give me a high-end role player shooting guard. Now we're talking. I mean, don't get me wrong, DeJounte Murray, I ain't saying he's not a high-end role player, that can't do the job, but I just feel like we need a more dynamic for us to really say that we are a championship contender. And I don't think bringing in DeJounte Murray makes us that contender. Yes, we might move them a little bit with him, but I don't think that makes us a contender.
Call from
My opinion.
Jay Levy.
Caller, what's your name and where you're from?
Jay Levy, South Carolina.
All right. What's on your mind? Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Salute to the whole panel, man. I watch that all the time.
Appreciate you.
The main thing, the thing I wanted to get at is, I'm watching all the overreactions. At the end of the day, you can't have it. You can't have it both ways. Okay. You can't complain and say we need a 3-and-D wing, and then when they go and pull the trigger and they get one, now it's over. We gave up Quickley. I think people need to face reality and understand Quickley was never coming back. So the conversation at the end of this would have been, oh, we lost Quickley for absolutely nothing. Leon Rose doesn't know what he's doing.
Right.
Apparently he knows what he's doing. But I also wanted to touch on the fact that with this lawsuit going on in Toronto, I think that played a major part on why Masai actually even dealt with us. I think that was leverage. I think that was a lot of leverage we had when we made that move on him, and I think that was strategic.
Did they drop the lawsuit?
I don't know if they dropped it or not, but I believe at some point it'll just go away. That's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I think that played a major part in the money. You got to think, when we first was trying to get this guy, they wanted 3 first-round picks.
Yes, they did.
It went from 3 first-round picks to a player that they knew we didn't want in RJ any longer. And they also just tried to grasp at whatever they could get. So they took Quickley in the deal, but they also knew we wasn't going to re-sign Quickley. So they basically solved all our issues, and gave us what we wanted, and for a second-round pick that we probably wasn't going to use anyway.
Right.
So I think a lot of people are overreacting. I've seen some people saying, "Oh, we got better defensively, but nothing else." Well, guess what? We were giving up 130 points in some of these games. Maybe we do need to get better defense. Now we have somebody that when we're playing against some of these guys now, we have somebody that we can put on tape. We have a better matchup with this guy just being part of what we have going on. So I mean, at the end of the day, man, you're just never going to have it both ways. You need to just understand that. But I think personally, we upgraded. I believe there's another move coming. It's going to either be Murray or it's going to be Mitchell. Because there was a reason why we held on to those first-round draft picks. Because if Atlanta is going to let go of Murray, or Cleveland's going to let go of Mitchell, they're going to want picks so they can rebuild.
Right.
So I'm just looking at it. I don't know about the Quentin Grimes thing. A lot of people have been getting on Grimes lately. But if you watch, he went from a first unit where there was no shot to even with Quickley. Quickley was auditioning, if anybody was really paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
And he wasn't really including Grimes in shots either.
Right.
So, I mean, and the few that Grimes were getting, I'll give him one thing. He's been hitting more consistent.
Yes.
But I think putting the point guard in there to run the second unit that probably pass first might be helpful to the second unit to get more people involved, because it gets tiresome playing a lot of defense and never getting the ball. All you're out there for the defensive stop. So we'll see how it unfolds. But I think personally we got better. That's just me, because we needed somebody who's just not a buoy in the ocean.
Right.
Playing in that third spot. We really needed that. That's just my opinion. I want to get you guys take on it, but that was just my opinion from listening.
Listen, Jay Levy, I don't know if there's anybody on this panel that doesn't agree with you when it comes to that third option and OG being a better fit defensively. And I think his shooting is underrated. And I think teams will see that. Like right now, when you look at the chat, I see some talking about how we got better defensively. You'll see we got better offensively as well.
That's a great call, by the way.
Yeah. Great call. We appreciate you.
Yep.
Anytime. One more thing.
Yes.
I also believe that RJ always worked hard to try to prove something to us, like to try to prove he was that number 2 guy or that number 1 guy. And he took a lot of shots to get the points he gets. I always hear Geoff say that all the time.
Right.
He takes a lot of shots to try to get what he gets us. Yeah, you get us 18. You get us 18 off 22 shots, 23 shots.
Right.
I believe with OG will probably get more shots than he was getting in Toronto, probably 15 now.
Right.
16 shots. But those other 7 shots will go to other players,
Right.
which I think will make up for the points in the scoring, more than enough. I think we'll be okay. But it's a pleasure talking with you guys, man. Appreciate you guys. I definitely appreciate the content. Shout out, Andy. Never seen you on here, man. but I figured you would pop up somewhere seeing the news that was going on. But salute to the chat. Salute to the panel, man. Love what y'all do, man.
Appreciate you. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
All right.
No worries.
All right. And I'll put the number up again, and I'll just say to the panel members, when a call comes in, I have to cut you short. Otherwise, there's just no. Staff, were you finished with what you were saying? Oh, all right. I guess. I guess so. What was the last question? I forgot the last question I was asking before we took the call.
He's talking about the bench.
He's talking about the bench. Oh, no. I remember DeJounte and do you like the Murray and
Okay, settle.
108 Soul.
Call from
Get on up and.
to accept, press.
What's up, Shadow? Can you hear us?
What's goody? All
We
aboard,
good.
loud and clear.
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear as well. What you got for us?
And I turn my Dope Soul Sport YouTube volume down so they wouldn't be any feedback.
Appreciate it.
New year, new Knicks.
There we go.
Listen, how many times have we said Randall and RJ is oil and water? The bad combination, it wasn't working. How many times have we said that?
Yep.
How many times? Forget about what we think about RJ. Like, I don't like RJ. He's this, he's that. Just the fact of the combination of the two players.
Right.
OG is going to kind of, I think OG is Grimes in terms of Grimes, like letting Randall and Brunson lead, but I don't think he's Grimes all the way. I think he's a nice midpoint of kind of like Dante and Grimes, somewhere in the middle, where he'll let them guys do their thing, but he's there to really be what truly is needed from that position, which is, and I said this so many times from last year to this year, we need RJ to be like a wing that can defend and shoot efficiently. That's what we said. Steph, you and I actually were so on point agreeing with that. Like we don't need you to score 20 points.
Right.
How about you shoot at a higher percentage and score 15 points,
right,
but give us some great defense and loose ball play and things like that. So OG to me is exactly what we need with the combination of Brunson and Randall.
Yeah.
The fact that we had to lose quickly, I understand is devastating, but we were never going to re-sign this guy, unfortunately. Right. He's outperformed what he does and is available to bring to this team. Right. He wasn't going to be re-signed. So kudos to the management for saying we're not going to lose him for nothing, right, and include him in a deal where we get a player back that's an all-defensive player, and we didn't have to give up any number 1 draft picks. Hello.
Right. Yeah.
Hello. That's really, to me, that's the big thing, because now where we know OG is not the tier 1A player that you would love to get, the fact that you have his tradable contract now, you have Mitch's tradable contract now. I mean, you could include one of these guys in a deal in the offseason to level up. You probably can't really do the level up that you might wish that could happen during the season.
Right.
Now, yeah, I heard the Murray trade. Yeah, that might happen for Fournier, but then you could flip Murray with Mitchell maybe for an Embiid.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, this allows you for flexibility. I'm not saying that that's what happens. I'm just saying that the flexibility is there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, kudos to management for the deal. Everybody said Leon Rose is sitting on his hands. He got a deal done. And the fact that you gave up the so-called golden child of New York, your number 3 draft pick, you moved on from him. To me, that takes a lot of kahunas to say we're going to go ahead and do that. And they did it. So salute to the team for saying, listen, we're not going to be overly committed to people like some of the fans are. Oh, we drafted the guy. We got to keep him forever. But listen, everybody could go. Anybody could go. And I'm glad that they understood that and they pulled the trigger. And I'm excited to see what OG does for the team. He's got a very reasonable $19 million player option. If he opts in, great. If he opts out and we can re-sign him long term, great. Sign and trade, great. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a lot of flexibility here that we just didn't have with RJ's contract and his poor play. So, you know, OG's a much more attractive NBA player. And that's all I got to say. I'm out. Salute to you guys. Salute to the chat. New York Knicks, blue and orange, blue skies ahead, all those things. And New Year, new Knicks. This is a birthday present early. My birthday is Thursday. So I feel like I got a nice early birthday present. You heard?
Yep. Appreciate you, DJ Shuttle.
Thanks.
Happy early birthday, because you know I'm going to forget.
And to add to Shuttle's point, you know, you got to give something to get something. You know, I think a lot of us have it in our head that they want to get this, you know, magical player, whoever it is, and give up Fournier and Deuce and, you know, DeQuan Jeffries and
get
3 second-round picks. And that's not how trades work. I mean, you look at the Kings Pacers trade as a perfect example. The Kings gave up Tyrese Halliburton, who's a great player. There's no doubt about it. He's the future star. But they also brought in Domantas Sabonis, who made them a playoff team. You know, so both teams can benefit in a trade. You can have a win-win for both sides, and it doesn't mean just because IQ goes there and has good games that the Knicks didn't do the right thing by bringing in a player who fits with their system and what they're doing much better and is going to make us a better team. I think this is going to be one of those cases where it's a win for both sides. I think the 2 players we sent out are going to help them. I think the 3 players that we brought in are going to help us.
I agree. Shout out to Walter White. Having a legitimate 3 levels our roster out better. The fact that we are making moves to improve is a great sign. Salute 100. Go Knicks. You're right. Because I'm like, what's the Knicks? What are we doing here? You know? So I think part of the encouragement is the team is better, but another part of the encouragement is seeing the front office make a move, because they don't talk. They don't talk to us. They don't talk to reporters. So you don't know what they're thinking. So when they make a move like this, you're like, okay, they're on the same page as we are, that we need an upgrade and we need some size. So I think that's also encouraging.
Call from.
Always coming. Always coming. Just don't know when it's going to happen.
What's up, Soulfinger?
Queen, what's happening?
Oh, man. Appreciate you calling in.
Soulfinger, my other half of the NBA 101.
My man Stafford D, what's going down, homeboy?
What you got for us?
Me, man.
Oh, well, Queen, just listening. I was chopping up with Ron Steele Knicks earlier.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's a lot of raw emotions. People are upset because you got those that really, really love IQ. You got those that hated IQ. Then you got those that same for RJ, loved RJ and hated RJ.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting. I'm going to let it unfold. I'm one of those, and I got to, Leon proved me wrong because I said he's going to sit on his hand. And I said it once, so I said it again.
Mm-hmm.
I figured, we stood a better chance running through hell and gasoline draws before they make a move.
I read that.
So, but he made a move, so I can't get upset. Now we got to see how it's going to unfold. I don't think it's done. They're done because there's still things that need to be, need to happen.
Right.
My only thing I worry about with OG is the injury.
Right.
That's one thing I worry about. I'm in one of those fans that we need a wing. We need a longer wing. I mean, and I was looking at it, I didn't realize OG Anunoby's wingspan is 7'2".
Oh.
I'm like, golly, his wingspan is as long as Mitch.
Oh.
So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. Yeah.
He's like,
that's basically he could stand up and tie a shoe. You know what I'm saying? So
any concern, Soulfinger, about that second unit without IQ?
Yeah, where the scoring is going to come from. You got, because Grimes moved to the bench. He looked good for long enough for a sip of coffee and a drag on a cigarette, and then it's kind of going back to what he's going to do. He can shoot, but he's a reluctant shooter. He doesn't shoot, and the fact that the man does not go to the free throw line. I think he's, we can count on one hand how many times he's been to the line this season alone. That's kind of concerning.
Yeah.
You got Josh Hart, who's going to be playing a lot. His things going to be more things going to be asked of him. I think, or looked upon because of how he plays and what's going to be needed. It helps him going back to playing at 3 and probably do some 2. We'll see what Precious Achiuwa is going to give us when he gets in. Let's see what goes on with the backup. Who's going to be playing backup center? Will it be Sims? We're going to be we continue to roll Todd out, which I already know is going to probably be Todd.
Roll is the operative word.
Yeah. Look, I was actually joking about this, and I'm not trying to speak it into existence, but I was saying that they're going to bring back the hands of stone, hands like skillets, Nerlens Noel. Because how Tibbs loves his retread. But I hope that was just as a joke. But I want to know if I'm wondering, will Deuce get a chance to get out there, or this whole thing? Because Malachi Flynn fell out of love with Malachi in Toronto, and I'm seeing in chat a lot of people saying he's garbage, he's this, he's that. But he had a brief whatever, he did all right. And I can't say because I really wasn't following the Raptors like that. But we'll see what happens. I'm still concerned about who's going to be how the scoring is going to fall when it comes to that bench unit, because you look at how it's currently constructed or it's going to be, looks kind of putrid right there. Not looking too hot.
I think it's going to have to be by committee. I think it's going to have to be a lot of ball movement and cutting and things of that sort. I don't. Who in that second unit can create their own shot? Now, somebody from the first unit will play with that second unit. I'm not sure who it's going to be.
They'll stagger those minutes, so that's what I'm saying. You can work it so that you have a couple of starters, a couple of playmakers on the floor at all times. I mean, this isn't like hockey at subs where you just going 5 for 5. And as Andy astutely pointed out before, we tended to put 2 and 3 even before the trade. That's kind of how Tibbs was mixing and matching it. So I don't see that part of it going away. And like I said, you'll see OG get some of those opportunities that RJ had, and he's a better scorer than RJ is. He doesn't average more points per game, but he's much more efficient.
And the thing with OG and I I'm not going to know somebody else trying to get in. But the thing with OG is the defense that we've been asking for. We wanted more defense, needed more defense. It was looking bad because, I got a credit card leak. I could jump over a credit card, and I probably moved just a half faster than the sloth and probably was able to get around and get to that rim. It was looking bad. But the problem also with us, man, and I brought this up in conversations with other folks, we were losing a lot of games because we just couldn't get people off that 3-point line. I mean, it was like they were sniping us, man. It was like just left and right, just killing us from the 3-point line. So we'll see how that, pick it up. I do like on paper how it's looking so far, starting lineup. Now, if Mitch was still there, it'd be even more of a solid starting 5. But now that bench, and I gotta, it could work in the benefit for Dante, to get a little more playing time.
with that bench unit. Dante gets that RJ minutes he was getting on that bench to maybe get some more points or something.
Right.
But we're going to see a lot. Randall and JB going to be put. JB going to get the bench. So I hope they drink enough Gatorade and taking the BC powder and soaking the Epsom salt at the end of every game from this point on. They don't get the minutes.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We appreciate you calling in. Always a pleasure.
Oh yeah, Queen. Hey, shout out to you. Thank you for I had to get in because it's the last show of the year for you.
Yes.
And I seen you got your all-star panel up there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, and like I said, to my other half of one-on-one, my man Stafford D. But to see Andy, Andy got that smile on him, man. When the trade went down, I know his ears went in his mouth. He was smiling so hard after that happened. So, but overall, hey, thank y'all for everything y'all do and putting out this good information and talking the good Knicks talk like we need to talk.
No
y'all
doubt
be
about
easy,
it.
hey, and we'll say and watch the game, and if you take an L, hey, it is what it is. They just caught us on one because we made the trade, and we just get ready for the next go round.
There you go. There you go. Appreciate you. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, all right, man.
Thank you.
All right, now, y'all.
All right.
Yeah, and it's funny that Soul Singer mentioned Andy, right? Because as soon as I posted in the chat, he was the first person talking about, yes, I see it's gone.
You ain't right.
That's not true, Sasha.
I have some more super chats. Did we do this one? Yeah, we did that one. Shout out to Boulevard 73. Always a pleasure. Appreciate you. Yeah, I think I got to all of them. Somebody said something in the chat. I want to know if you agree or disagree. Andrew K. Andrew, we got one more. We got one more call before we get out of here.
Call from.
It's Dre.
Salute, Dre. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Salute to the panel.
I know you're a little upset right now. Talk to me.
No. I'm not too upset. I went to the repass for RJ Barrett's Knick career. They're pouring out bags of milk and eating poutine in there. Very Canadian celebration. I'm not too upset about it because, like, I knew the writing was on the wall months ago. As soon as they signed Dante, as soon as they got Josh Hart, his $80 million, as soon as OG changed agencies, it was kind of evident. Like, the CA connections are so strong, they will power through a $10 million lawsuit to get something done.
Yeah.
Shout out to Leon Rose. I do like the fit. I think the move is more for next year and the year after.
Steph took the caller out and took herself out.
Yeah, we lost both of them.
Yeah, I think we lost Steph. So because we
They
lost
are
Steph,
doing IQ now.
Oh,
because we lost Steph, we lost the call because she has it, connected to our roadcaster. So I don't know what happened. Let's get some people from the chat though. Salute to Mega. Now that Steph's not here, let's get those likes up.
Mega.
Guys, I got two questions actually, and they're really short, so we can just go round table before Steph comes back.
I'm here, but go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Did I cut Dre off?
Yeah, when you went off.
When you went out, he went out with you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Dre.
I don't know why that happened though, because you have it connected to the road.
Yeah, you know what happened? I got another call, and I was on the other end. Maybe when I cut, or did it cut off as soon as I took the other call? Might have cut off as soon as I took the other call. Sorry, Dre. Call back. That was Freezy. I'm dropping him the link now. Go ahead, Staff.
Yeah. The first question is really short, but now let's imagine a situation where the Knicks front office can't move Fournier before the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any chance that we resign him, extend, pick up the option just for the Knicks to have the $18 million for a future trade?
Only if the trade is like in the palm of their hand. Only if the trade is in the palm of their hand.
Because you know, guys, what's going to happen if we don't move Fournier, we won't have the money to make a big move unless we're going to move Jalen or Julius or OG or whoever. So that might be a bigger problem, because that's going to handcuff the front office, to make up that bigger trade. And we're not going to have money to make a free agent acquisition on the level that we need to make, right? So
honestly, that does make sense, because it is a club option after this year.
I knew I'm going to make you guys think that we need Fournier on the roster.
I know that's the reason you asked it in the first place. I knew that was the reason. But yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
Yeah, you could trade. I just want to point out, hit the like button. We got 226 watching the show. We got 154 likes, which has to be a record. But if you haven't already hit the like button, it definitely helps the algorithm. It helps the show get out to more people. When you guys go to YouTube, you see where they recommend new shows to you that you haven't watched before. And they do that because of the likes. So get the likes up so we can get more eyes on the thumbnail and we can get more Knicks fans.
Button.
Hit that AJ button.
Man.
I think that's a good question. I think you have to have something in hand like Geoff. I don't think you could pick it up hoping.
Well, but Queen, if you don't have something ready, something on the table, do you lose? I mean, it's a tight spot to be in. That's a good question.
I think that picking up the option is actually like an insurance policy, because I think you still don't have to play him. It's not your money; it's Dolan's money. So you can just tell Dolan, listen, James, you got to pay this guy because we might have a move, and it's going to be way easier to make that move. So listen. Does these 20 million hurt you that much?
Well, Andy, not just the money, not just Dolan's money, but it's a good placeholder. You know what I'm saying? Because you're looking to pay somebody for that money. That money's there to be paid. Okay? Do you? Yeah, it's.
I think it's going to happen before the trade deadline. And I think this trade today makes me think the Knicks aren't sleeping.
Right.
You know what I mean? This trade makes me think they have a pulse. So I think it will happen.
Steph, I got. Okay, go ahead, AJ.
I'm gonna say Fournier and Grimes.
I don't never think he was sleeping. I just think it just had to be the right time for the right move. Go ahead, AJ.
I was gonna say Fournier and Grimes and two first round picks. To Atlanta for. It's gonna happen. They Quinn Grimes not gonna be here. They moving him. They moving him with Fournier somewhere. I'm hoping it's to Atlanta, but he's getting moved.
And you smoothly moved to one of my next points, is that DeJounte Murray just erased most of the Hawks things from his social media. So maybe things are gonna happen sooner than we think.
So do you think that meeting between Clutch and Leon really happened? And something might be in the works, Andy?
And Grimes isn't playing tonight. They said in the chat earlier that he was rumbly in the tummy.
Queen, we're gonna have, as soon as we come off, we're gonna have another emergency show, right?
Yeah. Maybe we should just wait. Just stall. Queen, let's just stall. But go ahead. That was the one thing, right? But the other thing is that the other question, which I actually think is more interesting, because we're not going to get the answer, right? Is, did Jalen Brunson or Julius Randle know and signed off on this trade?
Had to.
I not even know. I think they might have urged the front office to go out there and look for somebody.
I wouldn't say urged,
especially Brunson.
I think signed off. I think they did sign it off.
You think they have that level of respect within the organization, that the organization is coming to them to get their feedback on a potential trade?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Personally, I wouldn't have told them nothing. I don't think.
No, but Jerrell, you don't think Brunson is close enough to Thibodeau to his dad to tell his dad, tell the coach, we need help. Tell the front office we need help. RJ and cut him?
No, because as the president of the team, you should know if you need help or not. You should need
Yeah, and they see it all the time, AJ. They travel with the team all the time. So they have to see it, know that we need help. Come on, a blind man could see that, boy.
No, not necessarily that he told them that, but do you think when they had the trade on the table, do you think they went to them first before pulling the trigger on it to get their input?
No, I personally don't think so. I think if anything, you would definitely have to go to RJ and have a conversation with him, because RJ was here before both of them were. So I know they're better players. They're better players, obviously, but I don't think neither one of them is good enough for me, because you got to think about it. Say if they said no, then what?
Right.
They said no, they just got to live with it, though.
Unless
Jerrell,
they inform them of what they're going to do.
Yeah, I can see that, but not asking them whether this is a good move or not. That's not their job.
Right.
Well, I'm
I
gonna
think that's
tell
how
you
you
guys.
have to form that question, to inform them instead of asking them. I think that's the right way.
Different questions. You're right.
Yeah. Informed. Yeah, that's completely different. But giving their say so or blessing or anything like that, hell no. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I was thinking about this because when I was browsing through the the social medias, I saw IQ. He was like shocked, but it didn't have to ask him, of course. And I saw Josh Hart. He's like, "Oh, I wake up to what?" And that thing. But on the other hand, I remember the Brunson's reaction when they made the trade for Josh Hart. I think, right? He was so happy. So, but that was a different situation because they knew they are bringing in one of his guys, right?
Right.
So that's like, oh, we're gonna surprise him with this, and we ain't gonna call him all on the phone or something like that, right? But then again, I was thinking maybe they have the level of respect, and they told him like, listen, we can have OG, but this guy and this guy, they gotta go. And I don't know. I'm actually 50-50 on this.
Yeah.
I think it was all, kumbaya, you know what I mean? I love you, you know what I mean? Blah, blah, blah. And that's it, man. I mean, it's not like RJ was going to Mexico. He's going to where he comes from, Canada. He's royalty out there, like I heard somebody said earlier either in the chat or in the panel.
Yeah,
so it's not like in other places he's not going to like. He's going to be accepted there. He is from Toronto. You know what I mean? Besides wanting to be a Knicks fan, he was cheering for Raptors also too. So.
Yeah, that's the other thing, right? I think it's way easier for you as the front office to trade a guy to his dream place, right? Yes. It's like, listen, we might not have this opportunity. We're not going to trade him to the Timberwolves or whatever because that's close to Canada. That ain't Canada, right? So,
right.
So I think that might be like, listen, maybe this is the way to to soften the blow or whatever. So,
yeah, I don't think you're worried about that. It's a business,
Yeah, I know, but it's still like, listen, it looks like they have such a hard time to make a deal. So it might be like, listen, let's just do this because who else is going to ask for RJ?
Right. Correct. And we talked about how on the show last week, was it last week? No, just Thursday, how we wanted Barrett and IQ to go in separate trades because at least I felt like we needed two players. So let them, headline different trades. But Barrett, I guess, just didn't have that value to headline a trade by himself because I believe Quickley was the headliner for Toronto. There's been rumors for a year, if not more, that they liked Quickley. And I think that's who they really wanted. Because you think about RJ, I don't think he's a good fit with them either. They're having problem shooting. They're not a very good shooting team, and
unless
and I don't think RJ helps that.
Oh, unless they're trying to tank, then he fits perfectly.
Right. I think
they do have a top 6 protected pick that they need to remember. They traded that pick to get Podol. If it's outside the top 6, they lose their first round pick this year. So there is definitely, if they're out of it, there is definitely incentive for them to go on a Detroit Pistons like losing streak and tank about 20 in a row so they can stay in that top 6. Because if you're bottom 2, you can't fall outside the top 6, and that makes sure that they get their pick.
And Geoff, just after the Knicks trade and the Raptors, about that news, they literally came up with the article that the Raptors are still looking for trade partners for Siakam.
Yes,
like 20 minutes after. So they're just putting it out there. Listen, we want to scrap this team.
Yeah,
I don't like that anyway. So
Ghetto Heisman. I don't think the Knicks can realistically win this year, and maybe not even next year. But again, step by step, piece by piece. We're looking for that home run piece. Let's get the first base. Let's get the second base. Let's get a triple. And fill out the team and see how it goes. Because look, this team might have done okay in the regular season, but when you get to the playoffs, you're young. Look what happened to Grimes and Quickley in the playoffs last year. Maybe they'll be better this year, but we were counting on young guys in the playoffs. If we're serious about taking the next step, you can't be counting on really young guys in the playoffs. I have one more question for you guys. I mean, kind of similar, but I'm just interested. Do you prefer Murray or Mitchell? I say Mitchell. I feel like we have our Murray in OG, even though they play different positions, meaning that defensive guy who can shoot the ball, but it's not super dynamic. But your preference, Jerrell? Go around real quick.
That's a very, very good question, because they're completely two different players.
We're talking
the
about for this
question,
roster, so think about the context of the roster as well.
For this particular roster, damn, Steph, and I gotta go first. Why you do this to me?
I don't want to take all the meat off the bone, and then when it's time for you guys to go, y'all don't have much else to say.
I'll go with Spider Mitchell too. For everything that you said, he's from New York. He actually wanted to be here. Said he wanted to be here. Thought he was going to come here before they woke him up one morning and said, "Now you're going to Cleveland." Yeah, I'll say him for all the reasons that you said. The way he fits on the team, we need somebody else, more of an offensive threat than Murray is. But I don't know, man. Murray's a better defender. He's 6'5". The wingspan is exactly who we want. Another ball handler, another creator that's a real point guard that can handle the ball. See, you made me flip my answer as soon as
once you start talking it out.
Right. Okay, how about this? I'm gonna flip mid. This is the first time somebody flipped mid comment. I'm flipping him just because of his wingspan. Jalen Brunson can still score the basketball with his help. And we have, with him and OG Anunoby, we will have two of the best wing defenders in the league if that happens. That for Tom Thibodeau, that is probably his dream. So I'll go with Murray as the better fit.
Yeah, let me read this super chat before Reese Anderson leaves. Sorry, Reese. Y'all know my condition. Thank you for the reminder, though. You got it.
Salute.
RJ was not a good player. It's about time he had enough chances. Okay.
Wait,
all right.
That was the remix? Because that
was
what
the remix.
Yeah, he didn't want to say a bum. He didn't want to say he's a bum.
That's not what I'm reading.
Reese Anderson with another super chat. Appreciate you. RJ put the Canada flag. Is that Canada's
Jamaica?
flag?
That's the
Jamaica flag to shame. Happy we got OG 3 and D. And I'm telling you guys, you're gonna see that he's a bit more than a 3 and D, in my opinion. Shout out to you, Reese Anderson, and thank you for the reminder and for knowing my condition. I need y'all help up here. Appreciate you. Anybody else, Murray or Mitchell? Why and why? Jeff? Okay, go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I can go step, but I don't think this is a fair question, because if it's I'm just gonna say this because I don't think you can get either of these guys for the same price. If it's for like Fournier and Grimes and like 2 picks,
yeah, You're not getting
I'm
Murray.
yeah,
You're not getting
Mitchell, right?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah, but if that would be the case, then I'm picking Mitchell. But if it's like I gotta add 2 more first round picks, then I'm gonna pick Murray.
But why? Who else are you saving the first round picks for?
I'm saying it's safe.
We got like 25.
You got about 69 of them. Who else?
Yeah, but
Who you saving?
The number
Who you
keeps
saving
going
them
up by
for?
the second.
And keep in
Nah.
mind, Andy, keep in mind, now you have a Murray or a Mitchell or a OG to head the next trade. So I don't think you need all of those draft picks. The Knicks got 11 of them.
But Steph, what happens if it doesn't pan out? I don't have like 20 years in my life to go without a rebuild without picks.
No. We're not giving up Andy, and this is for the chat and those rewatching as well on the replay. We have 11 first round picks. You're not giving up all 11 in a Donovan Mitchell trade.
I think 4 is the limit. I don't think you can give more than 4.
Why?
The
if
rest
you got 11.
No, but I think that's the question. That's the rule. You can only give up 4.
Oh, well, then take
that's
3.
And then it swaps. So it's like you can give a 4 and 4 swaps. But it's you can't give more out than 4, right? But like I said, if the price is exactly the same, I'm taking Donovan. If it's way higher price for Donovan, I'm going to take Murray, and I'm going to be happy.
It's gonna be higher for Mitchell.
But what, 2 first round picks higher, or
what if it was high for both?
Then I'm waiting. Okay. Come on. But for what though? You already got OG. You already got Randall and Brunson, who you can like. Who else are you holding the picks for? And if things don't work out, and if you want to blow it up, you can trade Murray, you could trade Brunson, you could trade Randall. So it's not like you got one player and you're giving up all your picks. And I think the Knicks are in a good place regardless.
And the reason I ask that is because I actually think a lot of picks are going to go out for either of them.
Yeah,
because you're just sending out Grimes.
Right.
Yeah, and I think the other side knows, right? That listen, they didn't give up picks, so they got them now. So
right. You're gonna have to give them up because Grimes cannot headline a trade.
Right.
Yeah, that's why it's gonna be Fournier.
48 can't headline a trade either.
Steph. Listen, if Fournier gets traded for either DeJounte Murray or Donovan Mitchell, I'm making an emergency show with the headline, "We got this and this guy for Evan Fournier and the rest of the trade." So he's gonna headline the trade, believe me.
Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anybody else want to comment on Mitchell or Murray?
That's like choosing between steak and barbecue chicken. They're both good options, right? I like steak and I like barbecue chicken. I like steak a little bit more though. And Mitchell is the steak to me, and Murray's a little bit less. But no, I don't know that it's. I don't know that you can find a better 3 out there to bring in Donovan, though. In other words, if you're going to have a backcourt of Mitchell and Brunson, you need a 3-and-D wing of OG's caliber. In other words, there aren't a lot of players. Like, I was pretty well against that trade when it was RJ and Quickley around here. Well, we really didn't have another 3. When it was RJ, I was really against it because I was like, RJ can't hold it down, and you're just a minus defensively everywhere. But if you can get, if you have OG in there, that allows you to have more of a stable defensive unit, and I think you can get away with Donovan and Brunson being a little bit smaller because you have that lockdown wing. You could say, okay, that's yours, Evan. I mean, not Evan. I'm just thinking about Evan because of Andy over here, but that's yours because OG, you can take care of whoever that best player is. You can lock him up. So I think that the Mitchell trade is makes more sense now than it did before, just in my opinion, because I think our pieces are better. And, so from that standpoint, I'm not opposed to it. Again, Murray, I don't know why. I think Murray's an upgrade, but I don't know that Murray is the final piece. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think if we got Murray, I think we would end up sending Murray out with maybe Mitch and somebody else to get a superstar. You know what I mean? I think if we make the Murray trade, it's not the final destination for him. I think it's that he's the big salary who's an excellent player but not a star player. And if you're going to make a trade for a star player, he's the kind of player that you want, that you can include in the mix. And other teams are like, okay, I feel like I'm getting value here.
Yeah, no doubt. Andy, you wanted to say something really quick?
Yeah, let's add, before the rest of the guys go, let's add our even cheaper option in DeMar DeRozan. I think you can get DeMar DeRozan for Fournier and like 2 picks. You even don't have to, trade Grimes, right? And DeRozan is going to expire. He's older, but he might be the guy that we're going to miss in the playoffs,
right?
To get that scoring punch. So.
Only thing though, that's not steak or barbecue chicken.
Oh yeah.
That's like hot
just
dogs.
a French fries.
That's
French fries.
Corn dog.
You know what I'm saying? That's a couple chili dogs. Good chili dogs, don't get me wrong, with all the fixings, but they not, he's not the same player as the two players that we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, on the defensive end for sure. Listen, I love Murray, and I love him next to Brunson. But I don't think Murray and OG makes us championship contenders. It would be either one of those and somebody else a bit more dynamic. And since we got OG first, we need to look for somebody a bit more dynamic, in my opinion. But what's up, Freezy? How you doing? And what's your overall take on what happened today?
I'm sorry, y'all. I would have been here a little bit earlier. I'm still emotional. I was outside crying. I'm sorry, everybody. I would have been here. I would have been here a little bit earlier, man. But yeah, I had to go out. I had to go outside, man. And
who did you cry for exactly?
Both of them.
Yeah, man. So it was tears of joy and tears of pain at the same time, right? Because I'm not an OG Anunoby fan. I'm like, oh my god, but can I be long-winded and like in a short-winded window?
Yes.
So first of all, I had to cry tears of joy because the mere fact that the front office is awake shocked me. I thought they were going to be asleep until the draft. And then wake up and like, oh snap, we got to do something to show everybody we're worth our salary. That's what I thought was going to happen. I honestly did not think that the front office was going to do anything, right? Mm-hmm. But then my inside sources, if you call it that, told me that the Knicks front office had been looking at RJ and like, oh my God, we got to get rid of this dude to save himself, right? But so the mere fact that the Knicks front office did anything made me look. I still got a tear right here. Let me wipe this thing off before people think I'm soft. I guess. So I'm crying tears of joy that the Knicks are awake. You know what I'm saying? Also. For those that don't know, I had always been a huge fan of Malachi Flynn, right? One of the players around the league that you would love to see in a Knicks jersey or whatever. So I like Malachi Flynn, right? But on the other side of that, seeing Immanuel Quickley go in a trade is giving me the Doug Christie, Trevor Ariza vibes of watching a young player walk out the door and thinking one day this move is going to come back to haunt us, right? You know, and I know Knicks fans may not think anything of Quickley. As a matter of fact, what Knicks fans like to do is kick Teller in the back as it goes out the door. Like, oh, he wasn't really that good anyway, and you know, we do that. But the RJ thing to me is the biggest thing. I felt like it was time for RJ to go anyway, even though RJ Barrett was my favorite Knick. Quickley was one of my favorite Knicks also. But the thing with RJ going is, I think it signals the end of an era for those thinking that the Knicks are, if you still subscribe to a young core narrative, then you're going to have to find something else to talk about. Because I think the experiment with young players in the city is over. I think it's clear that nobody has any patience for young players in New York, and that's the reason why you bring in, you know, OG Anunoby. I think the Knicks, Queen Bee, I ain't gonna lie to you, I think this may be the best trade the Knicks ever executed.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I say that is they've somehow pulled this off without giving up a first-round pick when they gave up a first-round pick for Josh Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, granted, they did give up young talent, but I think we all feel like the young talent at this point was a diminishing return. We would hope they would be high-level. Both would be high-level starters by now. But, yeah, so I'm still in this. For those that listen to neo soul or R&B, I'm on this emotional roller coaster right now. Right, I'm super excited to have Malachi Flynn. The other dudes, I think, are just dudes. Right, but the fact that yeah. Okay. I think OG Anunoby is just a dude. You know, I don't think he's going to be as impactful on another team as what people think. Because in Toronto, he was the third option, wanting to be the second option. But guess what he's going to be in New York?
The third option.
The third guy wanting to be the number 2 or the number 1 guy.
That's okay. As long as he continue to do what he did. And you can want all you want. We just want you to continue to do what you did in Toronto, because that's what we need on this team.
Yeah.
But I just want to.
Does he and just because we acquired him, does that guarantee we're going to re-sign him?
I would think.
I'm pretty sure we will. He's a CAA client as well. I'm pretty sure we will. I just want to give a shout out to Reese. I'm sorry, did you say trade? Come on, man. You listening or you not listening?
Who was that?
I don't know who. Reese, come on. Reese, come on now.
Trade
did
Brunson?
You say trade Brunson? Come on. You know Brunson's my guy. You been watching the channel? You've been watching. I'm not even trading Brunson for SGA and all of these guys who haven't performed in the playoffs. I'm not doing it. Now, they can be on the team for somebody else, but I'm not trading Brunson for him. So no, I definitely didn't.
Okay.
Didn't say that.
What's up, Andy?
What up, bro?
IQ was that first round pick equivalent. I don't think the Knicks valued IQ. That's just a point blank. They had ample opportunity to create space for him on this team. Even if you didn't see him as a starter, they had ample opportunity to create a 30-minute a night role for him. And they didn't, you know, and they didn't. And
that Raptors game is going to be very interesting now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Any last words? Anything else?
I was muted, bro.
I was gonna say we got a game tonight, so it's that's gonna be a whatever game.
It's a whatever game, man.
Yeah, I ain't worried about that.
Yeah.
Win or lose, it don't even matter now.
Yeah,
it's gonna matter if Obi's gonna score like 16 points. It's gonna still matter because we traded a young guy and he scored 16 points. Randall's gonna put 30 on him, but
then we gonna want to trade Randall after this game. Watch.
Yeah.
Right, and not only
And
that,
he got 4 rebounds.
right,
by himself.
We're shorthanded and we're playing a team that likes to run. So it's gonna be
on the night of a back-to-back.
On the second night.
Evan Fournier time.
Yeah, Evan Fournier. I heard Sims is back. I'm not sure how true that is, but they said Sims is back. I'm sure McBride will get some time.
Deuce.
I'd actually like to see Deuce on Halliburton, see if he could slow him up some. That'd be interesting.
I think they always did. Y'all think? I always thought they preferred Deuce over Quickley for some reason.
I don't
know.
I had a sense of that. I had a
really.
Yeah, I had a sense. Yeah, because dating back to you don't remember how they showcased him in the preseason? How they sat Quickley after Quickley had a good game. They were like, I don't know. Let me see what Deuce got. I think Deuce is the major benefactor of this trade. Major winner, Deuce McBride.
So you think they play him over Flynn?
No. But I do think he gets more minutes though. I think it's. I don't know how it works, but I do think they like Deuce McBride. And I saw a Deuce McBride interview last summer where they asked him, how about he basically said, no, I don't like my role, but the front office keeps telling me to be patient. My time is coming. Anybody, y'all saw that interview? Anybody saw that interview?
I didn't see it.
I saw it.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Freezer, there's a lot of people in the chat who feel like McBride is going to get the minutes over Flynn, and that Flynn isn't. I heard Sherwin say Flynn isn't an NBA player. Yep. I heard Sherwin, correct me if I'm wrong. If you're listening in the background,
he can play.
Yeah, he can play. He can play definitely.
Yeah, we got to relax, man. Some stuff. Quentin Grimes is not an NBA player. How about that one? Quentin Grimes
he's a ham sandwich. He's a ham sandwich. I know that.
I wish at this point, I wish he was a ham sandwich, bro. It's more like
you have a ham sandwich. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Maybe if we could get the bread right.
Any last words from anybody?
Well, I want to say thank you, Queen, for hosting us on this emergency podcast. It was kind of, I think, a shocking day for all of us, and not necessarily shock isn't always a negative, I guess, because some of us are happy with the results and others are not, and time will tell. But I'm always worried about the name on the front of the jersey more than the name on the back. So to me, let's welcome OG and Precious and Malachi, and hopefully they, when we've made in-season trades, this bunch has really been good. I mean, the Josh Hart acquisition took us to another level, and so did the Derrick Rose acquisition. So hopefully this is the same kind of shot in the arm for this team, and get us to the next level.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just want to say two things. So selfishly, I think we're gonna come on and do the Big Boss Man Roundtable tonight. That's gonna be very interesting. But I also wanted to ask you if you were still writing, because I'm very interested to see what your Substack is gonna look like about RJ. Are you considering that?
Maybe. Maybe.
Okay. That's all. I ain't got nothing else. J Boogie, what's good, man?
Let J Boogie. What you got to say, J Boogie? Or should we just let you close this out?
Hello. How's everybody doing on this Saturday, man? Hope everybody's feeling good.
Hope
everybody in good spirits. Shout out to the
late Christmas. Merry late Christmas.
Hey, whatever it is, man. It's right on time, right before 22 end and right before 23 begin. Just the other day, I just said on Queen's show, you looking at the last final days of Quickley, I thought he'd be still lined up to go to Philly, but I already had a hunch that something was going to go on. I didn't know this was going to happen, so don't get me twisted. But I just want to say shout out to Leon Rose. For all those that saying, Leon ain't going to make a move, we can't get a move with Toronto. There it is. Leon banged on the door and made a move. And hold up, that 10 million, yo, keep that 10 million. We're going to keep our first round draft picks, but send that over here. You know what I'm saying? Good job for Leon Rose going to do what he got to do, and more things are to come. He already get ready to sit down with Paul. So Leon is making his rounds and doing things with people thinking he's least expected to do. Just do me one more favor, Leon. I need 2 more players. 2 more players. I want Murray. I want Murray, and I want Capella. Go send Sims, Grimes, Fournier, and 3 first-round draft picks, and go get them 2 pieces right there. That's 3 solid defensive players. 1 at center, 1 at the shooting guard, which we need right there, and we solidify and ready to go. That's a 5 that I put up against anybody. Capella can play Lopez. Capella can halfway check, you know what I'm saying, Giannis. And we already know that Murray can halfway check, you know what I'm saying, Brown over there in Boston. And I can put OG on Tatum. I'm ready to go. Go get me those 2 pieces, and that'll be the best starting 5 that Tibbs can have. I just want to say hello. I'm okay. All right. I hope everybody else is okay. And send them guys out there with baggage claim. I hate they go. Appreciate you being here. But like my man just said, yo, it's the team on the front, not the guys on the back. So I don't feel no emotions, no feelings. They ain't under their new contract. 5 years, 4 years is gone. They got to do something if they want some more contract. Salute, 3 capital S's. I'm out here with a 2-truck late night move, you know what I'm saying? And I ain't even get to go to John Wall thing because of what's happening, man. Breaking news. I'm getting ready to do another remix, man. Y'all stop playing with the squad, man. Come on, OG. God bless you all. Have a wonderful evening. See y'all tomorrow.
Appreciate you.
That was the closer.
That's why
they call him the closer.
Yeah,
for sure. And you want us to give last words after that stuff?
Nah, we out of here. Until next time, family.
You tune in, that means you're feeling the vibe. The bell rung, you already been subscribed. Right now, the queen, she on live. Right now, pull over the whip, no phoning when you drive. Dope Soul sporting with the talk. First lady from New York, Brooklyn. All my people, you rocking with the chat. Hit that. The like button would tell me where you at. You know, step from the MBK. Born and raised up MBK. Hey, real lady where she holding it down. No matter way how you feel, she gon' greet you with a smile.
Sister, you one of a kind.
Yes.
Sister, it's time you
That's
shine. Don't stop.
Where you at?
Don't stop.
Where you at?
Don't stop.
What?